guys, it's Jenna back with another YouTube video. I'm really excited today to talk about a really awesome thing in my life, which was my life as a figure skater. Before I get started, I do have to address the elephant in the room, which is my hand. I did cut myself this morning accidentally with my blender blade, so I had to get 7 or 8 stitches. So if you see my hand, just want to let you know. If you want to find out how I did it, check out my Instagram story, or I will probably put it in the highlights, so just, yeah, hear that long story. But today I'm really excited to talk about something that was a really big part of my life for many years, and that was figure skating. Now, the Olympics are happening right now, and I thought this would be the perfect time to talk about kind of my experience in doing winter sports, especially here in Minnesota, where it's a really big thing to do that kind of thing, you know, skiing, snowboarding, ice skating. It's like the thing here, and so I wanted to talk about my experiences as a figure skater and also just some fun stories and all of that. So I originally started skating when I was young, which most professional and competitive figure skaters start around age 5, so right around kindergarten time. But I quit after about a year of just taking basic lessons, and I only skated on and off for, you know, just like every year, maybe once a year, until about 6th grade when my mom got me some new ice skates. And so around that time I decided to start taking lessons and actually get better at it, because I wasn't really doing any sports. I did a lot of sports in elementary school, but by the time I hit middle school, I didn't really have many sports left. I was more of a theater, singing kind of person, and so, but I felt like I needed something athletic because sports are really pushed on young people, especially in middle school and high school. So by the time you hit high school, you had like a sport. So I decided to start skating, and but I was really late to the game, because most skaters start when they're in 6th grade, 6 years old, about 5 or 6, and I started in 6th grade. So I was like 5 or 6 years behind everyone else in my class. So I was skating and doing all the basic stuff, and people in my same class were competing, you know, at that point. So I did skating for about 4 or 5 years, until about 9th grade. And in 9th grade, I decided that I wanted to join the synchronized skating team. So this was something that is very big in the Midwest, and it's something where you basically have a bunch of skaters where you kind of hold arms together like this, and I'll put some clips in for sure of kind of some of the stuff I've done. But I decided to join the synchronized skating team that was at my arena. So I was at the Lake Minnetonka Figure Skating Club, which is not affiliated with any schools. It was kind of like its own thing. And so people could go from any school and go there. So I joined, I guess I auditioned to join it, and I actually made the lowest team, because again, I was super far behind. I was 16 years old, and I was the oldest one on the team, and the youngest one was 10. So if you think about, it's only 6 years apart, but 10 and 16-year-olds, completely different in every way. I was in high school, she was in elementary school. So it was very weird. I was super tall, I'm 5'7", so compared to everyone else, I was like the giant of the group. And so that first year, it was an interesting experience. So if you don't know, skating takes a lot of time and effort to learn all of the tricks. So you have a lot of lessons, like group lessons. You have to go through all of the different levels. So starting with pre-alpha, then beta, then gamma, then delta. Then you hit the freestyles. So freestyle 1, freestyle 2, etc. By the time I ended my skating career, which was my junior year of high school, I was at freestyle 4, which is when you start doing a sit spin, and I'll show you guys a clip of that. But then freestyle 5 is when you start learning an axel, which is, you know, what a lot of people know of in skating. It's the spin in the air. I never got to that point. I wasn't that good. But basically, so that first year I was on the synchro team in 10th grade, you travel to competitions, and so we had to wear a uniform. Basically, it was like a dress. It was ugly. It was bad. For me, I was, you know, in high school, I had like more curves, I would say, than some of the people that were younger than me. So it just didn't fit my body very well. And I probably have some pictures somewhere I'll try to put up. But Basically what you do at a synchro team is you have to learn a routine, and then you actually have to skate together in formation. It's kind of like a dance line on ice. So it's like synchronized swimming meets ice skating. And to me, it's such a, I wish it was in the Olympics. People would love this sport. It's so much fun to watch. It's honestly like breathtaking when you watch a really good team do a synchronized skating routine. Synchronized skating is basically figure skating on a team, similar to a dance line or a synchronized swimming team, except it uses the moves seen by many ice dance teams. In 1956, the first synchronized skating team was formed in Ann Arbor, Michigan by Dr. Richard Porter. They skated at intermission of the University of Michigan's hockey games, and it resembled a drill team, or similar to the Rockettes dance line. The sport grew rapidly during the 1970s, and a world competition was created between America and Canada. There are international synchronized skating competitions at the senior, junior, and novice levels, with senior being the most elite. U.S. figure skating held its first competition in 1984 and also hosted the World Championships in 2000 and 2010. There are 570 registered teams, and over 5,000 skaters compete in section championships. Besides the United States, the most accomplished figure skating teams in the world come from Finland. The 3 teams that are the best known and each win gold, silver, and bronze each year are from Helsinki: Marigold Ice Unity, the Rockettes, and Team Unique. The best teams in the US are the Haydenets from Massachusetts and the team from Miami University in Oxford, Ohio. With the recent Olympic Games adding a team sport for individual skaters, there has been an outcry in the synchronized skating community, asking why synchronized skating is not accepted as an Olympic sport. There have been many pushes and petitions to have this sport entered into the Olympic race, but so far this has been unsuccessful. The teams I was on weren't great. They were definitely like the lower teams, and it was more of the beginners. Again, I started so late, I didn't have the opportunity to train like regular people. But basically I spent that first year on the pre-juvenile team. And then the next year I moved up to the open juvenile team, which was like the mid team, but it was the older version. So it was nice because I was on with a little bit older people. But there was only, I think, 9 of us, so it was really, really small. Most synchronized skating teams have between 12 and 18 people, sometimes even more, so 9 was really small. And that was the year that I remember more of, just because I just remember, it was my junior year of high school, and there were a lot of things that happened that I remember. We went to a lot of competitions around the state, as well as like the Midwest, mostly in Wisconsin, in Minnesota. And we basically competed against other clubs to get to win, I guess. I don't think we ever won anything. We were not very good. But I really, there were things I liked about skating. There were things I didn't like. What I didn't like was the early morning Saturday 7 a.m. workouts where we had to come together and practice. There was a lot of, you had to have a private teacher for if you're trying to do moves in the field, which was kind of like on your edges of your blade. You also took, again, the freestyle classes, and I also took those on Saturday after our synchronized rehearsals. So you kind of had to be at the rink all the time. And so, but what's cool is I got to learn a lot of awesome moves. I learned how to do, skate forwards and backwards, do crossovers, do a few simple flips. So every time that I go skating with friends now, I can show off a little bit because I've had so much experience on the ice. But there was a few things I did not enjoy about skating. One of them was our awful makeup. We had the most ugly makeup ever. It was like brown lips. You also, TMI, couldn't wear underwear with your outfit, which was super weird for me. They just had all these weird rules, you can't have a run in your tights, and so you had to put clear nail polish on it. There was just so many of these weird rules that I wasn't used to, and so when I was actually skating, I just got really sick of everything. And so by the time I was a junior, I decided that I was going to retire as a figure skater and spend my senior year focused more on musicals and just being, present for my senior year of high school, because the junior and sophomore year was really focused on skating. And so it was interesting. My favorite thing probably about skating was doing the spring show at our arena, where you got to be part of some, like, all of the synchro teams would get together. So there's 5 teams, and so there was hundreds of girls on the ice. It looked so cool, and I'm gonna put some of the footage in there. I found it on YouTube, so I will try to link those people, but I don't even think that any of these people have YouTube channels anymore. They just posted pictures or videos like 10 years ago. So I'm hoping that it's okay to post these videos that maybe moms of some of the girls posted. But yeah, so that's kind of my overall experience. I'm not a very competitive person, so for me, skating was just kind of like, I wanted to be on a team. Like in high school, they really want you to be in sports. I don't know if about you, but at least at my high school, it was like people ask you like, oh, what sports do you play? And like, if you don't play a sport, it's weird. So for me, I was like, oh, I'm a figure skater. I'm on a figure skating team. I also wanted to try like that team bonding thing, but unfortunately, our team was not great. Some of the girls are really nice, but some of them I just didn't really click with, and it was just kind of weird. I also had a very traumatizing experience in 10th grade, when I accidentally sliced a girl's neck when we were doing this spiral move. Or a spiral is basically where you kick one leg up and then slide forward on your other foot. And we were doing it, but we were like holding each other's stomachs, and I tripped and accidentally cut her like right here in the neck. It wasn't that bad, but like it was bleeding a little bit, and it was probably one of the worst experiences of my life. I was crying more than she was. I was so upset. I felt so bad. And it was just, I don't know, there was something about it that I just didn't love. I felt like I was the odd one out because I was so much older than everyone, and like I wasn't as good. And it was very hard on my self-esteem, especially in high school, when that's kind of when you're forming who you are. And so when I decided to quit my junior year, I was such a breath of relief. I was so happy to be done with skating. But honestly, looking back, it's just kind of, I feel like the memories have kind of faded, and like I only remember the good parts, so that's good. But at the time, it was just so much pressure to be perfect, and it was an interesting experience that I'll always have. But yeah, so when you're watching these skaters on the Olympics, there's so much time and energy and money that has been involved in getting them there. And it's hard to see people fail because they've put everything on the line. Their whole lives, they've put all of that stuff on. And to me, I just don't think it's worth it personally. I feel like having a real life is so much more important than sports, and I've always felt this way. I've never been really into sports, and I just feel like, I know all those people end up retiring, in their 20s, but it's like, I feel like you miss out on so much. And I would never want to raise an athlete like that, where, yeah, sure, have fun, do it, in high school, maybe in college, but I don't know. I just don't know if I could see myself having kids that are professional athletes. It just seems like so much, and you might have a complete different opinion on that, but just for me personally, I just felt like it wasn't the right fit. So I'm probably going to share some clips of me skating, or some photos of our competitions, showing you guys some of the really ugly costumes we had. Each year, starting in 6th grade, I was in the spring show, and we had some of the most ugly costumes ever. I remember having to carry a bat one year because it was a baseball number. If you've ever been a dancer or a skater, you know exactly what I'm talking about with some of those costumes. But yeah, so that was kind of my story with skating. I've always wanted to talk about it online, but I just never got the time or just thought about it. And now that the Winter Olympics are here, I thought it would be a great time to talk about. So I hope you guys have enjoyed learning more about synchronized figure skating. It was really fun to record this, and I'll talk to you guys next time. See you later.